Think about it for a second. You are literally surrounded by them. Right now, in your phone, your watch, maybe even the car you drive. They're the silent, invisible power source for pretty much our entire modern world. But have you ever actually stopped to wonder what's going on inside that little metal can or that slim pouch? How does it just work? Okay, let's dive in and figure it out.
So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? How does a bunch of chemicals become the electricity that powers your life? Today, we're going to unpack the really elegant science behind it all. It's truly like having a miniature, perfectly controlled power plant that you can hold right in the palm of your hand.
All right, before we get into the nitty-gritty, we need to get one fundamental concept straight. A battery doesn't just, poof, create energy out of thin air. It's not magic. It's an energy conversion device.
And that is the magic trick right there. It takes all this potential energy that's locked away inside chemical bonds and unleashes it as a flow of electrons. You can almost think of it like a tiny, perfectly controlled chemical fire. But instead of just making heat, it channels all that energy into a steady electrical current. Pretty cool, right?
So how does it actually pull this off? Well, what's kind of amazing is that whether we're talking about a teeny tiny watch battery or a massive one for an electric car, they all boil down to the same four essential components working together in perfect harmony. Let's meet our four key players. First, you've got the anode. That's the starting line for our electrons. Then you have the cathode, which is the finish line. In between, you have the electrolyte, which is like an internal highway for other charged particles called ions. And finally, the separator. Now this is the crucial safety barrier. It keeps the anode and cathode from touching. And if they did touch, whoa, you'd get a massive short circuit. All that energy gets released at once. And yeah, that's how you get those battery fires you hear about. So this little separator, it is unbelievably important.
Okay, now for the real engine that makes this whole thing go, the redox reaction. I know. It sounds super scientific and complicated, but hang with me, it's really just a fancy way of describing a two-part dance. One chemical gives away electrons, we call that oxidation, and at the exact same time, another chemical grabs those electrons, and that's reduction. It's this simple back and forth, this giving and taking of electrons, that is electricity.
And this slide, wow, it just lays it all out perfectly. So check it out. Over at the anode, oxidation happens. Boom! It releases electrons into the circuit. The wires connected to your device. Those electrons then race through your phone, doing all the work before they finally arrive at the cathode where reduction happens. And at the same time, to keep everything in balance, ions are traveling through that internal electrolyte highway. You've got these two things happening at once. Electrons flowing through the outside circuit and ions flowing through the inside one. They have to work together to create that nice steady current. Now, we've all been there, right? Some batteries you can recharge 1,000 times, and others are just toast. One and done. Well, the entire reason for that difference comes down to one simple thing. Can that redox reaction we just talked about, can it run backwards?
And here's the key. For a disposable battery, what we technically call a primary battery, that chemical reaction is a one-way street. No turning back. Once the chemicals are used up, game over. But for a rechargeable one, a secondary battery, the whole reaction is reversible. When you plug it in, you're basically using electricity to push everything back to where it started, resetting the chemistry so it's ready to go all over again.
Let's make this real. Think about a classic AAA alkaline battery, the kind you put in your TV remote. Its anode is made of zinc powder and its cathode is manganese dioxide. And that combo, it gives you a great, steady, but totally one-way reaction. So once all that zinc is used up, that's all she wrote. The battery is done. Now let's switch gears to the modern powerhouse, the lithium-ion battery that's probably in your pocket right now. Here, the anode is graphite and the cathode is a lithium metal oxide. And you've got to know, lithium is the absolute star of the show here. Why? Well, for one, it's the lightest metal there is, and it's just super generous with its electrons, which means it can store a huge amount of energy in a tiny package. That's the secret to why our phones can be so slim and still last all day. And the best part? The chemistry is beautifully reversible. Those little lithium ions can just zip back and forth between the anode and cathode hundreds, even thousands of times.
But this incredible chemistry, it's not just about our gadgets, right? It's not just about smaller phones or laptops that last longer. This is huge. It's at the absolute heart of a global energy revolution. We're taking these exact same principles and scaling them up, way up, to power, well, everything.
And we're not done. The tech just keeps getting better. The next big thing everyone's talking about,
Solid-state batteries. The real genius here is that they get rid of that liquid electrolyte we talked about and replace it with a solid. Why does that matter? Well, for starters, it's way safer. No flammable liquid, no problem. Plus, they can cram in way more energy, last longer, and, get this, potentially charge as fast as you can fill a car with gas. I'm talking minutes, not hours. It would be a total game changer.
And that really brings us to the big picture, the so what of all this. You see, batteries are kind of the missing piece of the puzzle for renewable energy. The sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always blow. Batteries let us store all that energy when it's being made and then use it whenever we need it, day or night. This makes them absolutely critical if we want to move away from fossil fuels. Like the quote says, they're not just some part in a machine anymore, they are the key. So, the next time you pick up your phone, maybe you'll think about it a little differently. Just remember that tiny, invisible universe humming away inside, that elegant dance of atoms and electrons turning pure chemistry into electricity. It's a simple principle, really, but it powers our entire modern world. And that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? What's the next chemistry that's going to power our future?